With the current lecture is on vorticity vector and strain rate tensor. So we will learn more about vorticity vector, vorticity since we already know, and we will define this new tensor which we call as the strain rate tensor. Rather, we learn to express this vorticity vector and strain rate tensors for a general fluid flow in 3 dimensions. So, as I said, the learning objectives in this lecture will be 3 learning objectives: to express vorticity vector in a coordinate free form and examine some of its properties, and similarly we would like to identify the strain rate tensor again in coordinate free form and relate it to the local deformation rates, and examine properties of the strain rate tensor. Okay, so again, as I have been many times stressing and mentioning, the coordinate free forms are strongly recommended from our side because they allow you to simply express the various important entities in fluid mechanics in a form which is adaptable to any coordinate system. Right, so we move on to the contents of the present lecture. So we have shown from first principles that for a 2D flow, how we can visualize and express local deformation and rotation rates through infinitesimal material line kinematics. This we had shown in probably the second and third and fourth lectures. So while it is not very difficult to extend their expressions, वहाँ पे हमने 2 dimensions में किया था kinematics को, so it is not very difficult to extend their expressions for a Cartesian coordinate system in 3D flow domain. And this we had also done in one of the, I remember in one of the earlier lectures that I did after deriving those deformation rates and rotation rates, I had extended them in 3D also, but in a Cartesian coordinate system. So we need to now generalize those ideas and adopt a coordinate free approach. And so we define the vorticity vector as del cross V, or curl of the velocity vector. Now by now this curl and divergence and all these operations involving the del operator are familiar to you on the basis of my last few lectures on algebra and calculus of scalars, vector and tensor functions. So I don't need to talk more about it anymore, and I can just move on with my developments using these operators. So the above result or the above expression for vorticity is valid for any coordinate system, and whether it's a 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional flows. So vorticity vector, if you use the general way in which we handle these operations involving del, as we have shown in the last lecture, so using indicial notation I can handle this in any coordinate system, and I have the result before you, which is the same as we discussed in the last lecture where we had talked about the curl of a general vector function. This expression is also available in your algebra calculus sheet, so you can directly refer it from there also. And now we can see what happens in specific coordinate systems, that is for the case of Cartesian and cylindrical coordinates. Now if you look at the result in Cartesian coordinates, you will notice that vorticity is a vector having all 3 components in 3 dimensions, where this u, v, w are the components of the fluid velocity field. So at any point you will have 3 components in a 3-dimensional flow field, u, v, w, and so their partial derivatives in space, the manner in which they are arranged in this vorticity vector, you can see. So they define the vorticity vector. Now you will be able to relate this vorticity vector, at least its last component, which is the z direction component k cap के साथ जो है, that vector that component was derived earlier in 2D using infinitesimal a pair of infinitesimal mutually perpendicular material line rotation rates, instantaneous rotation rates, or 2D में वो using first principles we had derived this vorticity expression. So you can refer to that lecture, that part of my earlier lectures on rotation rates. So you'll find that this component was already there in 2 dimensions. So which means that the first two are the extra components that you get for a general 3D flow field. Right. Now in cylindrical coordinates, we have the velocity components as the radial, the theta direction and z direction components, Vr, V theta, Vz, and the curl of the velocity vector which defines the, or which gives you the vorticity vector in cylindrical coordinates looks like this. Again, 3 components along radial, theta and z directions as represented by the unit vectors in their respective directions, and you can see the various velocity derivatives that are involved. Interestingly, if you look at the z direction vorticity, it not only involves derivatives of the velocity, but there is a simple algebraic term v theta by r. Now you know by now that why this odd type of term is there. It is because that in this cylindrical system you have some contributions due to unit vector spatial derivatives. So it is basically due to this. Now if you look at, there are some interesting observations and remarks that I would like to make regarding the vorticity vector. And what is that? Start considering 2-dimensional flows. Okay, so we'll consider them both in Cartesian and cylindrical. In Cartesian, by 2-dimensional flow, what do we mean? We mean that the whatever fluid motion we are seeing, that can be completely, the motion characteristics are completely described in a plane. Okay, so let's say in a Cartesian coordinate system, that plane is, let's say for the sake of description, we can safely say that suppose xy is that plane in which the motion can be completely described. Okay, so it also means that in any xy plane that you may consider, the motion appears to be identical or same. So effectively it's not really, you should not think of a 2D flow as motion taking place in a plane. It is taking place in space, but whatever velocity field that exists in a particular plane, let's say an xy plane, the same velocity field exists in all the parallel xy planes. So that is the idea of a 2-dimensional flow. So you have 2 components, and this necessarily requires that there is no velocity component perpendicular to the plane in which the motion characteristics are confined. So it means that if you are confining yourself to the xy plane, then you have got 2 velocities only, u and v, with w as 0, and u and v are functions of x, y and t only. So there is no z dependence. So the partial derivatives with respect to z are 0. So in general, we will show later on whether you are dealing with Cartesian or cylindrical. This is a very defining characteristic of all 2D flows. Motion will be confined to a specific or motion characteristics will be completely described by considering one of the coordinate planes, and the velocity perpendicular to that plane would be 0, and of course the variation in the motion characteristics in a direction perpendicular to the plane in which the motion can be described, that variation is also zero. परपेंडिकुलर डायरेक्शन में उस प्लेन के जिस प्लेन में आप मोशन कन्फाइन कर रहे हैं या मोशन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स कन्फाइन कर रहे हैं रादर. So that is the main thing. So you need to keep this two-dimensional concept, two-dimensional flow का जो concept है वो आपके mind में रहना चाहिए. Now as you can see, if I use Cartesian system, so as pointed out earlier, आपके vorticity में जो I cap और J cap components है वो zero हो जाते हैं because W is zero and del V del Z, del U del Z are zero. So you get those components vanish and you are left with only one component, del V del X minus del U del Y. So what I have now, that I can say that vorticity vector comes out always perpendicular to the plane that can be regarded as the flow domain. That means जिस प्लेन में भी आप मोशन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स एक्स वाई प्लेन में जैसे आप कार्टेशियन से कर रहे हैं डिस्क्राइब फ्लूइड मोशन को, तो उसके परपेंडिकुलर आ रहा है वोटिसिटी वेक्टर. सो वोटिसिटी वेक्टर इज परपेंडिकुलर टू द प्लेनर फ्लो डोमेन. ओके, नाउ we look at what happens for the case of cylindrical coordinates. Now if the coordinates are cylindrical, then we can have two types of two-dimensional flow fields, rather two ways in which we can define a two-dimensional flow in cylindrical coordinates. That is because of the nature of the coordinates. So one is that you can confine it to a r theta plane. The motion characteristics can be completely confined in r theta plane. So you have Vr V theta as the velocity components and Vz being 0 and del del Z or variations of Vr and V theta along Z directions are 0. This is one type of two-dimensional motion possible in cylindrical coordinates. The other type is what we call as the axisymmetric flow. What is that? This time we are confining the two-dimensional motion to the RZ plane. Remember, first one was R theta plane. Now it is RZ plane. So RZ plane जो है वो जैसा आपने cylindrical coordinates I have been showing in some of my earlier lectures, if you can remember that. So RZ plane जो है वो थीटा के चेंजेस से रोटेट हो रहा होता है cylindrical coordinates में. So it means that if I change theta, the RZ plane changes. But in an axisymmetric flow, it means that in all RZ planes, आप अगर कोई भी एक प्लेन ले लें RZ, तो बाकी सारे जो रोटेशन से ऑब्टेन होंगे उस सभी प्लेन्स में मोशन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स आइडेंटिकल होंगी. तो आप कोई एक प्लेन ले सकते हैं. यू कैन चूज वन ऑफ द RZ प्लेन्स टू डिस्क्राइब द मोशन. सो यू हैव ओनली VR एंड VZ वेलोसिटीज. उसी प्लेन में जो वेलोसिटीज पॉसिबल हैं वही होंगी. And the velocity normal to that RZ plane, which is V theta, must be 0. And again, the changes along the coordinate which is normal or perpendicular to the motion plane, which is the RZ plane. So that partial derivative del del theta will be 0. So these are the two types of two-dimensional flows possible using cylindrical coordinates. Now for both you have a slightly different result for vorticity vector. For the first type, which is in the r theta plane, you have this vorticity vector del V theta del r plus V theta by r minus 1 by r del Vr del theta. And the vector is again normal to the plane of motion, that is in the z direction, because it's the r theta plane which is the flow domain. And for the second type you have got vorticity as del Vr del z minus del Vz del r, and this time the vector comes out perpendicular again to the 2D flow domain, which is RZ plane. So now I can generalize based on what I have been discussing so far for 2D flows. I can generalize all 2D flows. In all 2D flows I have vorticity vector that has a single component. So we have been seeing this in the discussion that is going on right now, चाहे कार्टेशियन में किया या cylindrical में, we had just a single component because of 2D nature of the flow, and that single component is perpendicular to the planar flow domain. So this is the aspect that I want to highlight 2D flows में. Now coming to a general three-dimensional flow field, there is another interesting property related to vorticity, and what is that? Vorticity field is unconditionally divergence free. So it means that whatever may be the type of flow, laminar, turbulent, जो भी आपको अभी मालूम है, incompressible, compressible, steady, unsteady, whatever, I mean whatever the type of flow, vorticity field will always be divergence free. What does it mean mathematically? It means that del dot omega should be zero at all points and at all instants of time. तो flow जो भी हो रहा होगा, कैसा भी हो वो, हर point पे, हर time instant पे del dot omega zero आना ही आना है. So this is what we mean when we say unconditionally divergence free. Now looks to be somewhat magical, but really it is not, because you can prove it in a matter of 3-4 lines as indicated below. So how do we prove it? We take the help of a vector identity or an identity from vector calculus. So if you refer to your sheet of identities and theorems from vector calculus, ये second sheet है जो mathematical formulas की आपके पास है, तो उसमें I have given a large number of identities. Okay, so one of the identity is del dot del cross A is 0, whatever may be the vector function A. So unconditionally ये 0 हो जाता है. This is something like a जैसे trigonometric identity, you can recall sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1. So it means identity mean, इसको identity कहने का मतलब ये है कि sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1, whatever the value of theta. So similarly del dot del cross A 0 है, तो ये किसी भी A के लिए 0 है, चाहे वो A कैसा भी vector function हो. That is why we are saying that it is an identity. Identity और equation में यही फर्क है. Identity holds for all variables, but equation means it is going to be satisfied for certain values of the variables. So ये equation नहीं है, ये identity है, holds for any A. Okay. Now if we take V velocity field, हम A को, क्योंकि A कोई भी vector field है, so I can choose it to be velocity. Okay, because it suits me to prove the result. So I take it as the velocity, and so therefore del dot del cross V is 0. So it means that del cross V being vorticity, so I end up with my, or complete the proof, del dot omega is 0. Now this result, this simple result can be interpreted in another way if I start taking help of the Gauss theorem. Remember, this Gauss theorem is not coming for the first time. When we derived the volumetric strain rate, there also we had converted surface integral of the type A dot n ds, or normal component of a vector integrated over a closed surface, we had expressed in terms of the volume integral. So we use the same Gauss theorem here, and we find that the volume integral of divergence of omega is equal to the integration of the normal component of vorticity on the surface of the volume. So because I have given, I have taken a volume, so the surface would be a closed one, and that's why the integral, surface integral, is written with a symbol indicating that it's a closed surface. So since divergence is 0 at each point inside the volume, so the definite integral, which is, or the volume integral, would come out to be 0, meaning that the surface integral is also 0. So what does the surface integral represent? Whenever you have a normal component of a vector, you integrate over a closed surface, you say this is flux of that vector function. Okay. Now you are already aware कि अगर यहाँ पे, for example, if I take integral of the type v dot n ds and integrate over a closed surface, I will get volume flow rate, which is flux of the velocity field. Now in this case we are talking of flux of the vorticity field. So I have written here net flux of vorticity through a closed surface is always zero. Okay, unconditionally zero. So this is just another way of saying that vorticity field is divergence free unconditionally in all flows. So the net flux of vorticity through a closed surface is always zero. Now here if you are able to recall, इस तरह के रिजल्ट्स हमने पहले भी देखे हैं, प्रॉब्ली जब इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिज्म पढ़ाया गया होगा क्लास 12th में, आई बिलीव देयर वी माइट हैव सीन मैक्सवेल्स इक्वेशन व्हिच सेज दैट del dot B is always zero, B being the magnetic field intensity, magnetic field rather. So magnetic field is very similar to vorticity field in the sense that both are divergence free. The vorticity is also divergence free, and the magnetic field as given by Maxwell's equation, one of the Maxwell's equation, with 4 equations है Maxwell के इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिज्म में, अगर आप रिकॉल कर पा रहे हैं तो उसमें से एक इक्वेशन डेल डॉट बी जीरो है. वन ऑफ द इक्वेशंस इज डेल डॉट बी इज इक्वल टू जीरो. सो तो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड के लिए भी यही कहा जाता है कि अगर आप गॉस थ्योरम लगाएं तो एक क्लोज्ड सरफेस पे नेट फ्लक्स इज जीरो. सो आई एम ट्राइंग टू जस्ट कनेक्ट what we have learned for vorticity to something which we already knew in our some different domain of physics. Okay, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि ये मैथमेटिकली बिल्कुल नई चीज़ है जो आपके सामने आई है वोटिसिटी की प्रॉपर्टी, बट ठीक है, इस तरह की एक प्रॉपर्टी आपने मैग्नेटिक फील्ड में भी देखी है. दैट्स द आइडिया ऑफ कनेक्टिंग हियर विद द मैग्नेटिक फील्ड टू ड्रॉ सम एनालॉजी और सिमिलैरिटी. नाउ so that's it for vorticity. Now let me go to the strain rate tensor. Now as I have already told earlier, there is a possibility of defining gradient of a vector, and when we define gradient of a vector, we have shown that it becomes a tensor of rank 2, and also we have shown that there can be two possible types of gradients. One is grad A and other is grad A T, or simply transpose of grad A. So two types of gradients I have already discussed in my last lecture. So if I use the velocity field and I construct something like grad V plus grad VT by 2, then I will get a tensor of rank 2, and this tensor is what we are calling as the strain rate tensor. तो अभी आप सिर्फ ये समझ लीजिए कि अगर मैं वेलोसिटी ग्रेडियंट यूज करता हूँ, और वेलोसिटी ग्रेडियंट दोनों तरह के यूज करता हूँ, ग्रैड वी एंड ग्रैड वी टी. सो इफ आई ऐड देम एंड डिवाइड बाय 2 आई गेट अ टेंसर, और दिस टेंसर लेटर ऑन आई शो यू हैज सम कनेक्शन विद द लोकल डिफॉर्मेशन रेट्स जो आप ने ऑलरेडी पढ़ लिए हैं. स्ट्रेन रेट्स या लोकल आपने ऑलरेडी the longitudinal strain rates and the shear strain rates, ये सब आप ऑलरेडी जान चुके हैं, इनका विजुअलाइजेशन और कंसेप्चुअलाइजेशन भी इन प्लेस है. सो देयरफॉर वी ऑलरेडी नो द लोकल डिफॉर्मेशन रेट्स, एंड सो यू मस्ट बी वंडरिंग दैट ये जो स्ट्रेन रेट टेंसर डिफाइन किया गया है तो इसका क्या कनेक्शन है उन लोकल डिफॉर्मेशन रेट से. लेट्स सी दैट बाय मूविंग फॉरवर्ड्स from this point onwards. So if I define the strain rate tensor like this, then all this we know. Grad V can be written as a second rank tensor, Gij Ei cap Eij Ej cap, and the other gradient of a vector, which is the transpose grad Vt, that is written by interchanging the indices in the component Gji, but the diodes remain the same, Ei cap Ej cap. Remember, this is important because अगर आप G में भी indices interchange करते हैं और diodes में भी बदल देते हैं तो दोनों जगह बदलने से you get back the same gradient which is grad V. तो अगर grad V से different result चाहिए आपको, grad Vt, तो then it's necessary to interchange the indices only in the components or the magnitudes rather, Gji or and the unit diodes D, EI cap, EJ cap, there you keep the indices same. Now, so the strain rate tensor becomes, if I back substitute these representations, second rank tensor representations, so I get strain rate tensor as Gij plus Gji by 2, and this becomes the component of the strain rate tensor with the unit diodes EI cap, EJ cap. Of course, here since I and J are repeating indices, so because of the fact that Gij plus Gji by 2, this is one entity getting you can say एक कंटिन्यूड एक्सप्रेशन है EI कैप EJ कैप के साथ, तो इस एक्सप्रेशन में I और J जो है रिपीटिंग इंडिसेस है, तो आपको सम आउट करना होगा टू गेट द फुल strain rate tensor. So because of the two repeating index involved, you have 9 components of this tensor. Now later on we'll show you that these components are connected to local deformation rates. So grad V can be now written. अब अगर हम आगे हमें काम करना है तो हम देखेंगे कि Gij और ये सब हम कैसे निकालेंगे. So let us see, let us start with grad of V, and we already know how we can write this. So in a general coordinate system this will come out like this. I've already discussed this operation in my last lecture, and now if you look at Cartesian coordinates, so Cartesian coordinates में hi 1 लेना है और unit vector derivatives are all 0, so the first term only remains, and I get Gij as del Vj del xi. So this is important. Once I can write grad V in any coordinate system, लिखने के बाद और उसके एक्सपेंशन वगैरह करके फाइनली यूनिट डायट्स के साथ जब लिखा जाएगा तब आप Gij निकालने की पोजीशन में होंगे, बिकॉज यू कैन देन कंपेयर इट विद Gij, EI cap, EJ cap, and then you can find out the component Gij. So doing that exactly for Cartesian coordinate system, I get Gij is equal to del Vj del xi. And of course then Gji becomes del Vi del xj, just interchanging the I and J indices. And since the strain rate tensor components Sij, they are equal to half of Gij plus Gji, so they come out as Sij is equal to half of del Vj del xi plus del Vi del xj. So these give you the components of the strain rate tensor. Now please, in this expression do not take I and J as repeating indices and start summing this, because actually this is giving for a fixed value of I and J the components of the strain rate tensor. So this is not to be confused with repeating indices anyway, because right hand side if you see, the two partial derivatives are not occurring in product form or getting multiplied, where you will treat these I and J as repeating indices. Instead, we have sum of the two partial derivatives. So whenever sum or this kind of operations or subtraction or are involved, then the indices are not to be taken as repeating indices. Anyway, so these are components of the strain rate tensor, so it's fairly obvious that for fixed values of I and J you will use this expression for Sij in Cartesian coordinates. So now we start looking at specific components. For example, S11, S22 and S33, they can be simply written as S11 is del V1 del X1, S22 del V2 del X2, and S33 del V3 del X3. And now the moment you write them like this, it rings a bell. Why it rings a bell? Because हमने जो longitudinal strain rates derive किए हुए हैं, epsilon xx, epsilon yy, epsilon zz, if you recall from the earlier lecture, Cartesian में हमने already उनको derive किया हुआ है. तो longitudinal strain rates क्या derive किए थे? Del u del x is epsilon xx, del v del y, epsilon yy, and the longitudinal strain along z, material line along z, and the strain is of course longitudinal, so it is also along z, So epsilon zz is del w del z. So it simply says that अभी आपने ऊपर देखा कि S11 क्या है, del V1 del X1. So it means it is del U del X. So it means that S11 is same as epsilon XX. Likewise, S22 is same as epsilon YY. And S33 is same as epsilon ZZ. So I have been successful partly because I have been able to show you that this strain rate tensor, जो अभी थोड़ी देर पहले आपको abstract लग रहा होगा, वेग लग रहा होगा, अब उसके physical meaning आने शुरू हो गए कि उसके जो तीन at least terms हैं S11, S22, S33, they are nothing but the three longitudinal strain rates. Fine enough. तो अब देखना है कि shear strain rates जो हैं वो कहाँ पे हैं. So let us start examining the other components of the strain rate tensor like S12, S23 and S13. तो अब अगर हम देखें तो S12, S23, S13, these are the expressions. So S12 is half of del V2 del X1 plus del V1 del X2. And again it rings a bell. Why it rings a bell? Because it tells me that if I टाइम बीइंग के लिए हाफ फैक्टर को अलग कर दें अगर हम, तो जो ब्रैकेटेड क्वांटिटी है दैट इज नथिंग बट गामा 12 और इट इज द shear strain rate between pair of mutually perpendicular infinitesimal material lines, one along coordinate direction 1 and the other along coordinate direction 2. So del V2 del X1 plus del V1 del X2. अगर आप अर्लियर नोटेशंस के हिसाब से देखें तो 1 is x and 2 is y, so it will be del v del x plus del u del y, and of course half is the multiplying factor, so finally I get half of gamma xy. And you also know that gamma xy is same as gamma yx, so it can be further written as half of gamma, it's incorrectly written 1 2, it should be written 2 1. Half gamma 1 2 is equal to half of gamma 2 1. Please correct it, 2 1. Now similarly S23, it is half of gamma 2 3 or half of gamma 3 2. And similarly S13, half of gamma 1 3 or half of gamma 3 1. So to conclude, I have found that S12, S23 and S13, what do they represent? They represent half of the shear strain rates. Now this presence of half is not really going to bother me because even if I know the shear strain rates, then I can always get the strain rate tensor components by multiplying half to it. And if I know the strain rate tensor components, suppose कोई भी experiments वगैरह करके अगर मैंने directly strain rate components measure किए हुए हैं, तो S12, S23, S13 की जो वैल्यूज हैं उनको अगर हम डबल कर दें तो हमें shear strain rate मिल जाएगा. So presence of half आप कह सकते हैं कि ये purely because of imparting tensorial properties to the local deformation rates या strain rates जो हैं actually जो exist करते हैं fluid flows में, उनको अगर हम टेंसर्स की तरह रिप्रेजेंट करना चाहें तो हमें ये फैक्टर ऑफ हाफ हमारे लिए इसको इंट्रोड्यूस करना ज़रूरी हो जाता है, या यूं कह लें कि स्ट्रेन रेट टेंसर की जो हमने डेफिनेशन लिखी है वो उस तरह से डिफाइन करना हमारे लिए एसेंशियल हो जाता है, तभी हम स्ट्रेन रेट टेंसर बना सकते हैं यूजिंग दीज 6 स्ट्रेन रेट्स, है ना. 6 क्यों? बिकॉज 3 आर लॉन्गिट्यूडनल और ये 3 जो है इसमें shear strain rates, in fact half of the shear strain rates के बराबर है. Strain rate tensor components if I am talking of. Now you notice that actually the components are 9 for the strain rate tensor and not 6. So the other 3, they are simply the symmetric components, like S12 will always be equal to S21 and S23 will always be equal to S32, and similarly S13 will be equal to S31. So if from the point of view information, if you want to address that fact, we can say that though the components are 9, but the basic information is only contained in 6 components, 3 longitudinal and 3 shear. जो एक्स्ट्रा 3 है दे आर कैरीड बिकॉज यू आर ट्रीटिंग द you are dealing with strain rate tensor. Okay, because आपने strain rate tensor लिया हुआ है तो इसलिए tensor will of rank 2, so it will have 9 components. उसके बगैर उसका representation नहीं हो सकता है. तो 9 components तो हैं, पर because the tensor is a symmetric tensor, so Sij is equal to Sji. Okay, so वो जो shear वाले हैं वो आपने simply express करने के लिए 3 एक्स्ट्रा लिख रखे हैं. दैट्स वाई यू हैव 9 कंपोनेंट्स. बेसिकली अगर स्ट्रेन रेट के लोकल डिफॉर्मेशन रेट्स को फिक्स करने की बात की जाए तो वो 3 लॉन्गिट्यूडनल और 3 शेयर से ही फिक्स हो जाते हैं. ओके, नाउ आई विल लुक एट सम इंपॉर्टेंट ऑब्जर्वेशंस ऑफ दिस स्ट्रेन रेट टेंसर. अगर मैं इनके 3 लॉन्गिट्यूडनल कंपोनेंट्स को ऐड करता हूं, S11 प्लस S22 प्लस S33, so I find that I can write it as del ui del xi, and now since it's a single expression, so I will be a repeating index, and therefore we have to sum over I, right? So S11 is del u del x, S22 is del v del y, and S33 is del w del z. Or you can say S11 is del u del v1 del x1, S22 is del plus del v2 del x2 plus del v3 x del x3. So now we will recall that अगर हम कार्टेशियन में देखें तो वॉल्यूमेट्रिक स्ट्रेन रेट जो था वो हमने ऑलरेडी निकाल रखा है, दैट इज डाइवर्जेंस ऑफ v. एंड व्हाट इज डाइवर्जेंस ऑफ v इन कार्टेशियन कोऑर्डिनेट्स? इट इज एग्जैक्टली इक्वल टू del u del x प्लस del v del y प्लस del w del z, which is nothing but the sum of the 3 longitudinal strain rates, S11 plus S22 plus S33. So what we can conclude from here that if you sum the 3 longitudinal strain rate components, you get the volumetric strain rate. Okay, this is something very interesting. Okay, now let us so it means that the strain rate tensor now seems to contain all the 3 informations. What are those? As far as deformations are concerned, डिफॉर्मेशन जैसा आपको पहले ही बताया 3 तरह की चीजें हैं उसमें. डिफॉर्मेशंस में एक तो लॉन्गिट्यूडनल डिफॉर्मेशंस होते हैं इनफिनिटेसिमल मटेरियल लाइंस में, एक पेयर ऑफ मटेरियल लाइंस में शेयर होता है, और फिर एक वॉल्यूमेट्रिक स्ट्रेन रेट है जो कि मटेरियल लाइन में नहीं दिख सकता, वो आपको इंडिविजुअल पार्टिकल्स में दिखता है. तो ये जो तीनों आपके डिफॉर्मेशन रेट्स हैं ये तीनों ही आपके स्ट्रेन रेट टेंसर से आइडेंटिफाई हो रहे हैं. आप अगर स्ट्रेन रेट टेंसर लिखते हैं तो स्ट्रेन रेट टेंसर की इंफॉर्मेशन अगर आपके पास है तो आप वॉल्यूमेट्रिक स्ट्रेन रेट भी निकाल सकते हैं, आप शेयर स्ट्रेन रेट्स भी देख सकते हैं, और आप लॉन्गिट्यूडनल स्ट्रेन रेट्स भी लिख सकते हैं डायरेक्टली इफ यू नो द स्ट्रेन रेट टेंसर एट एनी पॉइंट इन द फ्लो फील्ड. So this is the connection. That's why you call it as the strain rate tensor, क्योंकि उसके अंदर जो information है contain वो local deformation rates की है, चाहे वो longitudinal हो, चाहे वो shear हो, या फिर volumetric strain rates हो. So all the 3 types of deformation characteristics are represented by the strain rate tensor. Something very interesting. So now let us just complete the formality of examining the strain rate tensor in cylindrical coordinates. So again the same general expression, and I can now move faster here. And if you do the maths the way I have told you to expand this expression, first term में I और J पे summation होगा, second term में भी I और J पे summation होगा, and since we are dealing with cylindrical coordinates तो second term में I पे summation की ज़रूरत नहीं है because I have unit vector derivatives only with respect to theta, so I को theta fix कर सकते हैं and then we can expand. So all this I have shown in my 6th lecture which was in 2 parts, और उसमें grad V cylindrical में मैंने इनवाइट भी किया था आप सब स्टूडेंट्स को कि आप अपने आप से डिराइव करिए यूजिंग द प्रोसीजर्स आई हैव डिस्कस्ड. सो you become confident only if you do them yourself. So the idea was that. So I will save time here and try to give you directly the result. So grad V, using the procedures already discussed, the two terms on the right can be expanded to have the following result. And look at the result. So you have the various components of the tensor grad V, and from here I can just identify the GIJ components. Okay, because ये जो टेंसर लिखा हुआ है राइट में, इसी को हम GIJ एप्सिलॉन I कैप एप्सिलॉन J कैप करके लिखते हैं. So various components like GRR, GR theta, GRZ, G theta, all can be directly read off from this expression. For example, I have not written it here, but verbally I can tell you that GRR will be del VR del R. Similarly, GR theta will be del V theta del R, and GRZ will be del VZ del R. G theta R will be 1 by R del VR del theta minus V theta by R, and G theta theta will be 1 by R del V theta del theta plus VR by R, and similarly G theta Z, and so on. So GIJ can be directly written by inspection once you have this expansion of grad V. And once you have got GIJ, then you can always write, you have basically GJIs also available. Okay, आपके पास दोनों ही हैं, GIJ भी है और GJI भी है. Why? Because for example, if I want to write SR theta, I will write it as GR theta plus G theta R by 2. So G theta R is also known to me, GR theta is also known to me. So therefore components of strain rate tensor can be written as I have told you, Sij is equal to Gij plus Vji by 2. And so I have the longitudinal strain components S11, S22, S33, the manner in which I have written them. S11 is the del Vr del R, S22 is 1 by R del V theta del theta plus Vr by R, and S33 is del Vz del Z. Similarly, the components related to the shear strain rates, S12 and S21 are same, and it is equal to half of this bracketed term, which is basically half of gamma R theta or half of gamma theta R, which is the shear strain rates gamma R theta and gamma theta R. तो दोनों ही बराबर होते हैं, तो इसलिए the above result holds. Similarly, S23 and S13, you can understand how I've written these from the basic relation Sij is equal to Gij plus Gji by 2. तो ये सारे ही चाहे longitudinal हो या आपके shear related strain rate components हो, ये सब लिख दिए गए यहाँ पे. Again, we observe that if S11, S22 and S33 are added, it simply gives me divergence of velocity field, and which is nothing but the volumetric strain rate. तो ये प्रॉपर्टी जो कार्टेशियन में हमने देखी थी, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो सिर्फ कार्टेशियन के लिए एप्लीकेबल है, वो सिलिंड्रिकल के लिए भी एप्लीकेबल है. इनफैक्ट वो क्वाइट जनरल है. If I add the three longitudinal strain rates, or rather the components S11, S22, S3 of the strain rate tensor, I will always get the volumetric strain rate. So now it is left as an exercise to obtain the components of strain rate tensor for 2D flows, है ना. Because just as we saw कि अगर आप वोटिसिटी में आपने देखा कि अगर जनरल वोटिसिटी वेक्टर में को लेकर के हम चलें और हम 2 डायमेंशनल फ्लोज का अप्रॉक्सीमेशन यूज करके उसको देख सकते हैं, we can always see that how the vorticity vector behaves for 2-dimensional flows. So in the same way, the strain rate tensor, the general strain rate tensor that we have written in both cylindrical and Cartesian coordinate systems, you can use this the component information that you have in Cartesian and cylindrical for strain rate tensor, you can use it to see how these components simplify for 2-dimensional flows. And again, 2-dimensional flows you have to consider in Cartesian in the same way as we did for vorticity, एंड कंसिडर इन सिलिंड्रिकल, अगेन सिलिंड्रिकल में दो टाइप्स हैं, एक आर थीटा प्लेन में, दूसरा आर प्लेन में, एक्सिसिमेट्रिक जिसको बोलते हैं. तो दोनों ही बोथ टाइप्स ऑफ टू डायमेंशनल फ्लोज you'll have to take and see what results you will get. Now I leave it this as an exercise, okay, so that whatever has been covered in this lecture, you will be able to cement those ideas in your mind once you do this exercise. Okay, now to conclude this today's lecture, the strain rate components can be arranged in a matrix, of course, because if you have got 9 values, then you can arrange them in a matrix, 3 by 3 matrix, which we call as the strain rate component matrix. So Sij is can be arranged in terms of a matrix. So matrix has got these terms: S11, S12, S13, S21, S22, S23, and S31, S32, and S33. Now, interestingly, the values along the diagonal are the longitudinal strain rates. We have already showed that. And the values of diagonal terms, that means S12, S13, S23, they are exactly half of the corresponding shear strain rates. Remember, they are half of the corresponding shear strain rates. So never commit the mistake of equating them to shear strain rates. That factor of half needs to be made note of, so that you don't happen to remove it at any stage. स्ट्रेन रेट टेंसर के अगर कंपोनेंट्स हैं उनको शेयर स्ट्रेन रेट से रिलेट करना है तो फैक्टर ऑफ हाफ इज एसेंशियल. एंड ऑफ कोर्स S21, S32, S31, because the tensor is symmetric, so the matrix will also be symmetric. The component matrix has to be symmetric now. So we come to the end of this lecture with all my lecture objectives thoroughly covered here. So you are now in a position to completely understand what is a strain rate tensor, how it is expressed in either 2D, 3D flows, and you can equally express it easily in Cartesian as well as cylindrical components. So, and for the vorticity also, the similar remarks can be applied. Okay. So this concludes the general discussion on strain rate tensor and vorticity vector, and there will be no more discussion on kinematic aspects of fluid flows. We will be now taking a step forwards towards dynamics, in the sense that we will start talking of forces acting on fluid particles, and then trying to write down the dynamic or the governing equations of the fluid particles in a viscous fluid flow. Thank you very much.